Before we go any further, I need to explain the concepts of I and me, as I refer to these terms a lot. But first, there's something I want to explore with you a little more deeply. It is the comment you made the other day that all people are predisposed to evil and sin as purported in Christianity. In yoga, which is not a religion by the way, but that is for another letter, we explain good and evil in a slightly different way. We are all born as energy, and our past incarnations and karma determines the degree at which our energy is vibrating when we are born, as well as the life we are born into. Remember the seesaw? If our vibration is low because of actions carried out in previous lives, you're going to meet a lot more challenges in this life, as well as be more susceptible to all the deviant behaviors that come with low frequency emotions and feelings. But let me take a step back here and put this out there. For those of you that don't believe in reincarnated energy, I shall repeat this again. We live in a universe of finite energy, and everything is energy, just as we are made up of vibrating atoms and cells. We cannot create more energy. We sure as heck can't destroy it. So when energy dissipates in one form, it must pop up in another form. Every single one of us began as one cell. Yep, just one. Which then multiplied to more than 36 trillion cells. But even before we are subjected to the onslaught of conditioning thrown at us from every direction, there is a soul that comes through in every single living thing, every baby, even identical twins. That soul is our consciousness, which already holds our core essence and is unique to every individual, in so much as the information it holds from our past incarnations. Ever really sit and watch a baby, a young child, before society tries to ruin them? They hear things, see things, and feel things that our conditioned mind cannot understand. We see behaviors that we have no idea where they come from. What we're seeing is their soul. The path our life then takes is a series of meetings, events, relationships, paths, journeys that give us every opportunity to break negative habits, impressions, karmas, or to build on positive karmas, habits, and impressions, all of which can be from a present or a former incarnation. All along the way, we are given ample opportunities to create new impressions on our consciousness, to evolve our soul forward. Too far-fetched for you? How about the fact that science and medicine are now discovering that our cells hold memory? Without going into too much depth, let me try and explain this from a scientific viewpoint. As for some reason, people still believe anything scientific is a truth, and the rest just fits under hocus pocus, as so eloquently described by my mother. Elizabeth Molyneux Dixon from the School of Natural Health Science describes it best. Our bodies are made up of billions of cells, which are constantly being renewed. Every minute cell has a memory and reacts in a very literal way to the memories of this life and previous lives, whether our conscious minds are aware of these memories or not. So by accessing these memories, which are deep in our subconscious by past life therapy, we can heal ourselves from long buried illnesses, phobias, or pain. Modern science teaches us that our cell contains DNA, which is the blueprint for the complete design of our physical bodies. They also hold a blueprint for our emotional, mental, and spiritual state. Our cells remember all of who we have been in past lives and all that has been in this life, right up to the present day, hence the term cellular memory. So as we change and grow in every aspect of our lives, our cells are constantly updating our personal data. Cells also retain the information of all life experiences that has been absorbed from genetic heritage. Nothing ever experienced, whether positive or negative, escapes from being programmed. At Heart's Institute, scientists and doctors are now exploring the shift in personality that takes place in the recipient of a heart donor to reflect many of the personality traits of the donor, which can only be explained by the memory held in the heart cells of the donor well after the transplant. In a later letter, I will go a little deeper into this concept of past karmas and present. But for now, just know that our energy and the level at which it is vibrating is influenced by the history of our cells and consciousness, which in turn influences our entire being, which includes our mental and physical health. And that one of the main goals of yoga is to shift the frequency of our vibration, to enact change within us all the way down to a cellular level, to change the memory and information held in our cells. You know, the reason as a yogi I can explore being with a man that has guns is because of the energy you put into your guns. It's like social media apps. The energy, feelings, emotions we attach to it will determine how it is used. It is not the apps and guns that are slowly deteriorating our vibration into anger, anxiety, and fear. It is us, the user, that is using those items to channel and manifest our energy. So, although some people are not born nice, there are just as many that are born on the good end of the vibrational scale. And within a lifetime, they may just stay where they are, they may slide to the other end of the scale, or they may just go a little higher on whatever end they are sitting on. But one of the reasons you see so much evil besides the profession you have chosen, which is saturated in evil, is because we live in a world drenched in stress, competition, selfishness, all of which keeps us in our fight or flight instinctual survival system. No matter how good you may be, if you are sitting in your sympathetic nervous system all the time, it can override the goodness in you. However, remember, we also inherently have a parasympathetic nervous system, which when we spend more time in it, we move to the end of the spectrum where sits good, peace, and calm. We have both in us. We are not one or the other. And in fact, we are at our best when both systems are in balance. Because remember, when our sympathetic system is triggered the right way, it gives rise to creativity. Not surprisingly, our nervous system mirrors the I and the me in us. I'm going to turn you on now with a little bit of my nerd talk. An atom is composed of electrons, which revolve around each other vibrating at a high degree. The formation of an atom is from the clustering of negative, feminine electrons around a positive, masculine one. The positive influences the negative to behave in a certain way, which gives rise to a new atom. When we speak of masculine and feminine, we are not speaking of our sexual weapons, but as vibrations. Note, in this context, there are none of the connotations we normally attach to the terms negative and positive. It is the negative feminine node, or pole, where new forms of energy and creativity is created. A feminine electron, or corpuscle, which is any tiny particle, naturally leaves a masculine corpuscle and seeks union with another masculine corpuscle in the journey to create new forms of matter, energy. As the feminine vibrates rapidly under the influence of the masculine energy, it creates a new atom, manifested in new ideas, creativity, and the expansion of energy, which, although the new atom holds the properties of its creator, it also has its own individual properties. Remember in one of the first letters where I speak of the universe creating us using Shakespeare as an example? Well, the creation of new atoms in us at a cellular level mirrors this. The feminine is the active creator, but can only do this by working off male energy. And what it creates is different from its creator, but holds the same properties. Thus, everything in the organic world contains and manifests both genders. There is always masculine in the feminine and vice versa, just like the concepts of yin and yang. In yoga, we speak of the I, the soul, and the me as the conditioned mind and by extension the conditioned personality, influenced by the polarity and rhythm of emotions, feelings, experiences, thoughts. For some, the me personality extends to the external physical self, which they bind to their personality, their clothes, their looks, as they cannot imagine a self existing independent of the body. That independent self is the I, the soul. The me is where all our ideas, emotions, thoughts, and other mental states are housed and created. But for the me, the feminine, to generate new ideas, thoughts, it needs energy from the masculine, the I, the soul. Either the I that resides in us or someone else's I. That I, the soul, also has the ability to sit back and objectively observe the creative process, as being generated from it, but independent to it, like the Shakespearean Othello, but to a different degree. This is what we also mean by awareness, being able to sit back and observe the creative process within you. The feminine me always moves in the direction of receiving impressions, and the I directs itself to giving. The I gives rise to will, and the me towards creation and imagination. But if we are not connected with the I in us, lazy really, then the me will be happy to receive ideas and thoughts from external sources, regurgitated ideas and thoughts, as opposed to the production of original mental creations generated from the will and energy of our I. It is why we are so susceptible to the thoughts and ideas conveyed by clever marketing, charismatic people, TV, social media. It's what I mean when I say that I strive to plant my own seeds in the garden of my mind rather than the seeds from others. Because in the latter, with enough watering, we take on those thoughts, ideas from others until we claim them as our own. But really, they are just someone else's ideas we take on and started to wear as our own. I know you can say that I'm doing the same thing with yoga, taking on others' ideas as my own, but that is not what I'm doing here. In fact, what I've sought to do is to take all that I have learned and put it into practice to see if there is a truth in it. And I can tell you without a doubt there is, because what it has sparked in my life is not only magic, but great creativity. I've also traveled the world to learn every aspect of yoga, our body, our brain, our nervous system, and so forth, only to find that in all the various disciplines they are all saying the same thing, just in a different language. Lastly, in the world we live, the I, the masculine will, is so lazy and overwhelmed that so many of us do not want to do the work to connect with it. So our me is ruled by the mind and wills of others. Because the world we live in is so fast-paced and stress-heavy that we tend to live in our brainstem, where the external world influences us, rather than shift to our frontal brain, slow down, engage in introspection, and govern ourselves. It is amazing how it all connects and explains how we are so easily brainwashed. In yoga, we seek to connect the I to the me to our own body. So we are the creators of our own creativity, thoughts, ideas, and reality, rather than the vessel of others. I'm going to stop here because I've thrown a lot out at you today. But as we move through the story of yoga, all of this will begin to make much more sense. So don't worry if you're a little dizzy right now. Once you have the complete picture, all the parts will fall into place. Love, the Enchanted Yogi.